When you are navigating the social media world, how do you handle comments? How do you handle pushback, like regarding single parents and how they might feel they don't have enough rights? How do you handle those comments?
I have no issues with disagreements. Actually, you have different perspectives. Obviously, this range of assistance, it could be more, and I think you expect that, and in fact, you should welcome it. But it's those that change your content. They distort what you say by changing the headlines. And they don't just change headlines, they change the text. But the smart ones don't change it completely. They keep a lot of it, the words, but change the words, omit certain phrases, certain paragraphs. The context suddenly is different, plus the dramatic headlines. Suddenly, it looks very different. How do you deal with it? What to do? It's there. You just have to accept that that's part of the landscape. And it's not about censorship because you can't. I mean, I think China tries. They're a great firewall of China, but it's a bustling. I'm sure it would be a lot more bustling if they didn't have some of the measures in place, but enough for things to spread. So it's not about control, but I think it's about being there. You need to then, you see the last elections, and I mean, when we began moving into the social media space, government was just lagging behind. We didn't think that was a space that we ought to be in. When I was in MINDEF and I was actively, because I had a Facebook Live before I entered politics. So I was, because you're dabbling in it and it's like, it's kind of interesting. And you see people's comments and you sort of understood the dynamics of that space. And I wanted to introduce it as the NDP's Facebook page as part of the outreach engagement for National Day. And I decided not to ask very much because there's a reluctance to get into that space. So we seeded that space. A lot of things were going wrong, it was not counted. But now I think we are beginning to be in that space, both as individuals as well as organizations. And you need to be there just to contend with the perspectives. Put across your perspectives, put across your arguments, share your views. And it's not just about the issue and a head-on, but it's also about what else you do, because a lot of it is so anonymous. We don't see that hundreds and thousands of Singaporean civil servants working really hard and passionately about making things better. But when you begin to humanize that, I think you also have a different perspective about, oh, I didn't realize. Like my call center in MOM, at the peak, you can get 10,000 calls a day. 10,000 calls, it's a lot. It's just, how many people do you need to? But a lot of it is things that you can find online. I've got HR people calling in who actually ought to know, but just want to call in. It clogs up. So maybe when you understand that, you realize, oh, so you can't understand why you can't get through, for example. So I think we do need to be in that space, and you need to push back where you can, and ultimately people have to decide for themselves. But you need to be there to engage and communicate, and you do the best you can.